Business Week is brought to you by American Express. Realize the potential.
Welcome back to Business Day. Well, all week at this time, we are celebrating Small Business Week on BNN. They might not be huge corporations with household names, but small businesses make a significant contribution to Canada, injecting billions of dollars into the Canadian economy. Let's take a look at how the sizes of business are broken down. Small businesses generally have less than 100 employees. Less than 5 employees is classified as a micro firm, while a company with over 100 employees but fewer than 500 is considered a medium-sized firm. Small businesses make up 98% of this country's companies and contribute more than 30% to Canada's gross domestic product. These companies have a huge impact on economic activity as well as job creation, employing more than 60% of private sector workers. In 2011, small and medium firms created about 79,000 jobs. And to celebrate the huge impact small businesses have on the Canadian economy, the Business Development Bank of Canada has been marking the 3rd week of October as Small Business Week for the past 34 years. The week has been designed for the sharing of ideas and promotion of small businesses making products and services for Canadians. So to kick off our coverage, we are going to introduce you to the Gurman brothers. They got their start running a wholesale clothing company founded by their father, but these twins have big plans to expand into another business. Take a listen.
The Gurman brothers aren't ones to rest on their laurels. Despite running a successful apparel wholesale business, these Montreal-based identical twins couldn't resist what they saw as the next big thing: frozen yogurt.
Just by mistake, I walked into a store.
One shop on Saint Laurent Street in Montreal.
And there I saw Yay Yogurt. So I really loved the branding, the graphics, the look of it.
And the rest, as they say, is history. The brothers bought the Yay Yogurt brand and began an aggressive expansion strategy.
We have a big demand. We're signing, I think, franchisees every other week. Either 1 store, 3 store, 5 stores, looking to sign some area developers.
The brothers hope to have 30 North American locations opened by the end of this year. But going from wholesale to retail has caused some speed bumps for the Gurmans, especially when looking for the right people to expand with.
It's very important to choose the franchisees very carefully. You know, you have to make sure that they have the passion and the work ethic to make it work, because the brand and the product will take you so far.
But when you're navigating a new business, it helps to have a partner you can trust.
We work well together. The twin thing, you know, when we use it to our advantage.
In the end, the Gurman twins say they'll guide Yay Yogurt's growth using one mantra:
You go, you get. If you don't go, you're not getting.
Well, the strength of any small business ultimately boils down to sales, and our next guest says that many are missing the mark. For more on how to get the sales right, we are now joined by Tibor Shanto, principal at Renbor Sales Solutions. Tibor, great to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
And let's talk a little bit about this. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have the sales, there's really no need for the accountant in the back room. Talk to us a little bit about, in your opinion, the importance of sales.
Well, sales, as you say, drives everything. It finds the revenue, it grows that revenue, it allows you to expand in a number of different ways, it allows you to find new markets. And what I found is that a lot of small business owners make a mistake when they're hiring salespeople because of the type of attributes or characteristics that they look for. And I think as a result of that, they're shortchanging themselves in their opportunity to grow and expand at a more rapid pace and obviously grow sales and revenue and ultimately profit as a result.
And Tibor, this might surprise a lot of people. I mean, I think a lot of people who start a business think that they know the product, they know the direction they want it to go in. One would think that they could hire the right salespeople. What are they missing here? What are they doing so wrong, in your opinion?
Primarily, they tend to lean more towards other product experts. As you say, they've started the business, they have a passion for it, they've run it based on energy. They don't realize that a lot of their successes come by virtue of a number of different factors that aren't necessarily related to sales. But when it comes to selling and they want somebody who's skilled at prospecting, prospecting skill, to taking that prospect and bringing them on board, engaging with them, and converting that into a sale. They don't need a product person. Yes, they need to have some product knowledge, but in terms of the balance, they need to swing towards people who can prospect, who can pick up the phone, cold call, and do all the things that salespeople are supposed to do. The owner or the founders of the business may have had that success because of their passion, their drive, their vision. Salespeople have that as well, but when it comes to sales. So if they hire another product person, the risk is they'll get somebody who knows the product and they can have great conversations with, but that aren't going to go out there and really expand the market, bring on new customers, which is the role of the salesperson.
Tibor, it's interesting, though, because if you go back over the past number of years, a lot of companies in general were looking more for a product manager, somebody who knew marketing. And then if you went even back beyond that, people really were salespeople. In other words, picking up the phone and cold calling. That was the old way to do sales. Is what you're saying is that's where we need to be right now?
Well, it may not have gone back all the way to strictly cold calling and so forth, but yes, you do need a sales professional. Much as you mentioned earlier, you need an accounting professional, you need a production manager. So I think having a product manager is different than having a salesperson. The salesperson, if you will, is the evangelist for your company. So they need to go out there and understand how your product will help your potential customers achieve their objectives. And that's a different conversation, a different talk track than somebody who will talk about the product being part or what makes the product better. I'll give you a specific example. Sure. A small company I worked with that's in the IT space, every time they interviewed a potential salesperson, they asked them to get up to the whiteboard and draw out a schematic of a network. Not the skills a salesperson needs to go out there and engage. If I was hiring an engineer or a sales engineer, yes. But for somebody who's going to go out and find new customers for new products, it's not so much whether they can draw the schematic, but talk to a business owner, another business owner, as to how my product, my service, my integration will help them grow their business, which again is different than knowing the product. And in fact, knowing the product might limit that because you'll have a tendency to talk about what you know, which is a product, as opposed to talking about what makes sense in the context of the sale, which is how you can help that downstream customer benefit.
Tibor, what's the right conversation then for a small business owner to have when they're interviewing various candidates? What do they need to be asking and focusing in on?
Experience. So it's difficult for small business owners because they like to talk about what they know, which is the product. So what I would suggest to them is they step back and review the last handful of sales and ask themselves, where have there been bottlenecks or hurdles in the sale itself, and what did they do, and so on. And then take the experience from that and ask specific questions. Tell me about a time when a customer had expectations beyond what was contracted. Tell me about a time a project was delayed. So they can understand how well that individual manages the relationship with a potential customer as opposed to how well they know their product. So it is going to be a bit of work for somebody who's mired in the product all day to step back and think about what worked and what didn't work in the successful or unsuccessful sales they've had to date and convert that to questions.
And Tibor, what do you find is the best way right now for some of these small business owners to match up with potential salespeople and vice versa?
Well, I think traditional route still works with networking, talking to other people and so on, looking in your customer base and seeing who really has this demonstrated some of the attributes that you're looking for. I think with social media, there's a greater opportunity, especially if you're looking to tap into the younger audiences. LinkedIn and even Twitter is a great place to at least identify who might be a good salesperson and so on. But still, you know, traditional recruiters, newspapers still work, some of the sites now in terms of Monster and Workopolis. I think the key is what they do once they source that smaller group of individuals. How do they whittle that down to somebody who can actually sell their product?
And what's your last piece of advice on that front?
Hire slow, fire fast. Take your time looking at making sure you get the right candidate, but if you realize that it's a mistake for both yourself and potentially the salesperson, it's best to act on that early rather than hope and pray that things change on their own.
And 10 seconds left, but I have to ask you, what's your view on hiring an inexperienced but young and hungry person?
I'd rather do that than hire somebody with luggage.
All right. We will leave it there. Tibor, thank you so much for joining us. That was Tibor Shanto, principal at Renbor Sales Solutions. Well, still to come, we're going to take another look at all the market action today. But first,